Okay, hello Cloud Gurus and welcome to the last lecture in the Route 53 section of the course. So what are my Route 53 or my DNS exam tips? Well, it's pretty simple. Elastic load balancers don't have a predefined IP4 address. You resolve to them using a DNS name. So if you ever see, and a scenario question where they're telling you to choose the A record of the Elastic load balancer, you know that that is going to be the wrong answer. Also, you should understand the differences between an alias record and a CNAME. So there's a couple of differences. The first difference is every time you make a CNAME request to Route 53, you're going to be billed for that request, whereas an alias record request is free. And the main difference is that when you've got a naked domain name or a zone apex record, you want to use an alias record because you can't use a CNAME on the naked domain name or zone apex record. And then finally, given the choice, you should always choose an alias record over a CNAME simply because it is cheaper. So if you do have a choice in the exam and you're trying to decide between whether or not to use a CNAME or whether or not to use an alias record, go for the alias record. And then you should just remember the different routing policies and their use case. So simple is the default routing policy, has no intelligence built into it whatsoever. Weighted allows you to route your DNS request based on specific weights that you want to use. And like I said in the last lecture, specifically, you would use this if you're trying to do A and B testing. So you want to send 10% of your new users to the new site that you're trying to test, and 90% of your users to your original production website. You then have latency-based routing, and this will route your users to the nearest region depending on their latency. So if you've got a user in South Africa, it would send them up to into Europe rather than sending them over to Asia Pacific, for example. Failover-based routing is really cool. It basically allows you to do active passive failovers. You don't actually have to use failover-based routing for resources in AWS either. You can actually use Route 53 to do failover-based routing for any kind of private cloud deployments you have. So it is really, really useful. And then we have geolocation routing, and this is where we say, okay, I want my European users to be directed into my European site, whereas I want my American users to be directed to my US site. So that's what geolocation is. So just understand the different routing policies, remember the difference between a CNAME and an alias, and remember that elastic load balancers will not have an public IP4 address. Okay, that's it guys. If you have any questions, please let me know. If not, feel free to move on to the next lecture. Thank you.